Did you start learning piano and then find it really hard to fit into your schedule, hard to do, and hard to feel like you were getting anywhere? Well, let's chat today about 5 mistakes that we as adult learners can make when approaching learning an instrument. And we'll also check out 5 tips for making this road as smooth as possible to help you to love your music journey. Hi there, I'm Kylie and I love to share easy tips and tricks to inspire you to learn the love of music. I would love to keep providing you guys with free content here on YouTube, so please hit subscribe. And if you have already, thank you so much for your support. Well, let's start by zipping down the 5 mistakes that I've seen myself and many adult learners make. Then we'll take a look at 5 tips to flip these mistakes on their head. So mistake number 1, expect to grow at piano but still do everything else. Like work full-time, have 5 kids, run a side hustle in the evenings, grow gardens and cook from scratch, all while breastfeeding the baby. This doesn't work. I've tried the juggle and we actually can't do it all. Mistake number 2 is to expect to grow at piano with no accountability. We may find ourselves isolated in our learning, not paying any money on good instruments, resources, or a face-to-face teacher. We need at least a basic level of quality tools and accountability. Mistake number 3 is to expect to grow at piano or keyboard, but not actually spend any time to make this happen. This links a little bit back to mistake number 1, in that we need to carve out a little bit of time each day for our learning and playing, but we need to also allow time to think of our dreams and find our motivation for our learning. I'll explain more about this shortly. The 4th mistake is to expect to grow, but only to play things through once. It's easy to jump on your instrument and have a playthrough of a piece, but just playing from the start to the finish each time isn't actually going to grow your skills. Number 5 is that we expect to be amazing yesterday. It feels like it's taking forever to grow, feels like you're going nowhere, you wonder if you're wasting your lesson time and or your money, and you've been working on this piece for ages. Why haven't you nailed it? If you feel like this, then I'll take you on a mountain climbing story shortly. So let's now flip these mistakes into 5 positive tips that we can help us to grow in our music experience. So if we can't do everything, then have a look at what your priorities are. Look at what the main things are to fit into your day and look for a time that you can slip some music into every day. So for myself, I like to do some music in the morning when my brain's really fresh. But some mornings when I'm too busy, then I try and carve out some time after dinner to do a little bit more playing. It's good to acknowledge too that seasons change. Sometimes you'll have more time, sometimes you'll have less time, but a little bit of time each day will keep everything growing. If you can't afford a face-to-face teacher right now, then create some other ways to have accountability with your music making. Put some practice time in your schedule, set some alarms to support this, and also once a week try and go back and have a look at what you've been up to and see where you want to go next. Touch base with a sister or a friend or an uncle who's into music, and you can let them know what your aims are or how long you're planning to practice. Or right here on YouTube, I'd love to hear from each of you to hear what your aims are and how much music making you like to try and do each day. Let me know in the comments. So as well as carving out time to make some music each day, also look at when you can carve out a little bit of time to really listen and hunt for music that you love. If I find a piece that I love and that I really want to work at, I'll find really strong motivation and connection. So spend some time dreaming and listening out for pieces that make your heart sing so that you can find your motivation as well. One run through, then a new song, then the next section, then a new song, then another new piece. If we only play things once, we won't grow. So it's so important to stop ourselves. Yes, maybe have your first run through if you like, but then go back and break down to as small as possible. Break it down to the phrase or to the bar or to the little motive or just to one hand as well. Doing this drill and repeating patterns helps us to grow our body and our physical skills and also our mind and what we need to think of there. So the effort to break things apart and drill is really worth doing. Well, it's hard when we decide to play piano or violin or trumpet and then we're not feeling very good at it. But if we work at something, we will get better. Sometimes it feels very slow. It feels like we're going up a mountain and it is really hard and really high, still really hard, still really high, and it feels like we might not be going anywhere. But I think it's really good to capture things early on while you're learning, so you can record yourself or do a little video and capture images of how your hands look. Over time, they will change and you will grow. For me, last year, I'd been really slogging at violin for a while, and it felt like 5 different areas that I was working on really weren't going anywhere. I felt like they still weren't any better than they had been, and I was starting to feel quite frustrated. Then all of a sudden, things really clicked, and it was really exciting because I could suddenly see and go, oh, that is heaps better now, and oh, that's really grown as well, and I could enjoy my sound more and really feel and see that growth that had been happening. So hang in there. If you work at it and you set the time aside, you will grow. So thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know if something jumped out to you while you were watching that linked with your piano journey. And I make lots of different piano videos sharing different tips and tricks, and also improvising and lots of blues lately. So check those out if you're interested. Thanks so much and happy music making. Ta-da!